I'm just gonna start off with these questions.
Okay.
So our group is doing research on Meta and AI, a little bit of it, along with its ethical implications.
Okay.
And we're just hoping to interview you to get maybe your insight as a professor.
Sure.
All right. So our first question for you is, how would you describe Meta's role in the advancement of AI? If you have any ideas.
So AI isn't my area of focus.
Uh huh.
Meta, as well as all the other large tech companies, have invested quite a bit into AI through various means. I don't think Meta is really at the forefront of like consumer-facing AI,
Okay.
right? So it's not quite like OpenAI or even like Watson.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know all the stuff that they're doing, of course, but they're really pushing it, especially like for their for Facebook and Instagram, things like recommendations, and I think that's really where they're focusing, trying to understand and harness attention.
Kind of like their algorithms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you think there are some? Okay. How would you evaluate these advancements if you like throughout the years?
What kind of evaluation?
Like, do you think that uh their algorithms are advancing in a positive way, a negative way, or just
Positive or negative?
as in
From what perspective?
uh
Like
from an ethical
from an
standpoint?
ethical perspective?
Yeah.
I am not a huge fan of social media where it's
No.
gone.
Okay.
I think attention is something that is very for lack of a better word, precious.
Uh-huh.
It is one of the few things that is truly yours and you can't get more of. So you be very careful about where you give your attention, and these algorithms that are designed very much to leverage and capture as much of your attention as possible for financial gain is, in my opinion, problematic. But I think whether or not that makes it ethically moral or not, I don't know if I am in a position to say.
Okay. These next questions, then I'm gonna ask. They're gonna be more ethical implication questions.
Sure.
So, what ethical concerns do you see?
Close that. Maybe make that beeping a little less onerous.
All right. So, what ethical concerns do you see in like AI development, especially in like Meta?
Sure. So, their AI development in general, one of the major ethical concerns is power. So it takes a lot of energy to train and operate these various AI models. There's some interesting research that I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it's a lot of power, like on the order of smaller countries' amount of power.
Okay.
Which, of course, comes mostly from fossil fuel based power sources and other not super planet friendly. So that's one major ethical consideration, is whether or not what we're getting from these AI models, whether it's Meta trying to understand what you want to see and feed you more of it, or whether or not it is ChatGPT trying to help you write an email, right?
Yeah. All right. So, how would you, in your opinion, define what an ethic like how AI will be used ethically? What do you think?
So there are entire careers dedicated to trying to understand that right now.
Okay.
AI ethicist is an actual job. Um, it's challenging, like even just from a professor perspective, whether or not to try to prohibit students from using something like ChatGPT or whatever in their assignments. Like though, like at my level, those are already challenging, but trying to determine how it should be used at an industrial or human level,
Yep.
yeah, I think is
Yeah.
more than any one person really has the right to say. Like a lot of the things that we've done, it has a lot of potential to do a lot of really good things, but also a lot of potential to do a lot of really bad things. I think it's important that before we develop capability, we understand consequence. That's something that the major tech companies right now don't really focus on. Right there, the U.S. tech mantra is move fast and break things. Eventually, you're gonna break something you can't fix.
Yeah.
So I that is problematic. There are think tanks and institutes, academic institutions, and even some companies that do put forth effort into trying to understand implications of what they're building.
Okay. We also kind of looked at your profile a little bit on
Sure.
UWM. And we know you're part of the IEE and the ACM
Sure.
programs. Do you think Meta like aligns with these ethics, or do you think they're just kind of like saying they are but kind of not doing it?
I think that is a bit of a loaded question in that I don't have evidence one way or the other.
Yes.
Again, in my opinion, I think that the way that Meta is using AI to harness attention is not the healthiest for their user base. Whether or not that goes against IEEE or ACM ethical standards, I don't know if I can really say.
Okay.
I would be inclined to say that there definitely is some gray area, at the very least.
All right. Do you guys have any other questions?
I guess like just one quick follow-up question to the
Yeah.
AI stuff. Do you think like how they're going about data collection is an issue right now? Like just, I don't know, just kind of like using the internet as their source of information. Do you think that's wrong?
So it really depends on what type of AI you're talking about. If we're talking about like Meta's AI that does the whole recommendation engine, right? That's largely being trained on what you've already been doing. It's just always watching you, which is scary in its own right. But you signed the EULA to say that it could do that. Now, large language models and other generative AI, I do think that is problematic, and there have been issues with that already. Again, one of the whole mantras of move fast and break things kind of goes in, hand in hand with ask forgiveness, not permission. As long as the fine is less than the profit that you make, it's worth it for companies to not follow the rules. So yes, I do think it's problematic to just scrape the internet for training data, specifically without consent. Now, some platforms, it gets more gray. The whole idea of content ownership is still something that I'm not sure is entirely like concrete. If you upload a picture onto, say, Flickr, and can Flickr agree to let a company use that image and the metadata along with it to train this engine, or do you have to give permission? That's a bit more of a gray area, but companies just not even asking and just going off and taking it, that's, I think, blatantly wrong.
Cool. Anything else? Alright, I think that's all we have.
Okay.
I still need to learn